Next is about processes. So a process is basically an execution unit on Linux. And each process has an ID, process ID or PID. The commands or applications or programs running on Linux, those are uniquely identified by a process ID. So to look at the running processes, you can use either top command or htop command to show the details of your running processes. This is top or htop. Those tools for example, Task Manager on Windows. So if you run Task Manager on Windows, you will see, those applications running on your Windows laptop, for example. And for Linux, this is the same, top or htop. So here is a screenshot. You will see first the CPU cores, those 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the CPU cores, for example, 16 CPU cores. And then the memory, and then the running processes using, for example, CPU and using memory, runtime, and so on. So this is very convenient to have an overview about the running processes on your Linux machine. And to control those processes, for example, if you want to kill or terminate a process, you can use Control-C. When the process is running, you just type Control-C, Control-C, and then this will kill or terminate a process. And a process can be in the foreground, the so-called FG ground, so that you are interacting with the application. For example, the text editor, you just type your keyboard, you are working on a file. This is the so-called foreground. Or a process can run in the background. For example, you start some calculation, I don't know, which may take for 1 hour, and then you can put this process into background. And for the foreground, you can do something else. For example, editing files or writing papers, and so on. So to run a command in the background, you can use this ampersand at the end of your command line. Here is an example bash to run this computation with input 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then put it into the background. And if your application is running in the foreground, but you want to put it into the background, so how to do that? You can just type Control-Z to pause the current process in the foreground, and then to put it in the background. In this way, you can switch the application very conveniently. We just talked about Control-Z to put the application to the background. I have to remind you that Control-C is to kill or to terminate your process. Control-Z is to put it in the background. Those are two very different concepts. So if one process is terminated, it does not exist. For example, it's not running on your laptop. But if a process is in the background, maybe you cannot see this process immediately, but this process is running. So this is the key concept, the key differences. So that is why I would like to remind you, you can use Control-C to terminate. Moreover, you can use other commands to kill or to terminate your process. For example, queue followed by the PID, you will be able to queue the process, a unique process with this PID, or you can queue or for an application. For example, you start, I don't know, 10 or even more Firefox applications, web browsers everywhere. And then you, everywhere, for example, on your laptop, you want to just queue Firefox, not a particular process, but you just want to queue Firefox, you can just queue all Firefox. And then all the processes with the name Firefox will be queued. And also you can have an overview of your processes currently on the system by using PS. So to have an overview about all the processes on the computer, you can use PS AUX. So A is about overview of all the processes, A, for the user, and X, I forget the exact meaning of X, but you can use man page to find it out. Anyway, PS AUX is to show all the processes for users. You can see here, this is a screenshot, all the processes from PID 1 and then to continue. So to conclude this part, here is a cheat sheet that you may find it very useful. For example, for take a look for visualize your file. For example, use less or use cat, head and tail, or to edit your file by using nano. And for the process management, you can use PS, for example, PS AUX to look at the running processes, or you can simply queue a specific process completely by using queue PID.